Hi everyone. So in this video, we are going to take a look at the CD aspects or the continuous deployment aspects. But this time we are going to use a GitOps strategy using Argo CD that you're seeing on the screen right now. So in the previous two videos of DevSecOps with self-hosted GitHub runners and then CD with Argo CD, we have discussed the CI aspects of it. And I've showed you as to how to get started with the self-hosted runners using the action runners controller GitHub repository and how do you set up a self-hosted runner for your GitHub repository. And then in the second part of the video, we took a look at the CI workflow pipeline as to how we executed the different CI steps for a Spring Boot application, and also some of the DevSecOps aspects that we had with it in regards to using Sync plugin or using Sonar Cloud and also scanning our Docker image using Privy. So in this video, which is the final part of it, we are going to take a look at Argo CD in terms of doing the deployment aspects, which is GitOps. So we are going to have our desired state configuration in our GitHub repository, and the desired state configuration is going to be synced into your Kubernetes cluster as a Helm chart, and it's going to be taken from your GitHub repository and synced to your cluster. So in that way, it's a pull-based configuration. We have already spoken about GitOps in the Tamil Cloud channel as one video. So if you want to know the basics of GitOps, please go ahead and take a look at the Tamil Cloud channel's video for GitOps. And in this video, we are going to specifically take a look at Argo CD. So we are going to break this into two parts. I'm going to show you the Argo CD components. I'm going to show you as to how to install Argo CD into your cluster. And then we are going to take a look at the CD repository where we have a Helm chart. I'm going to take a moment to explain what a Helm chart is all about. And then I'm going to show you as to how to connect your Argo CD using the user interface to your GitHub repository where you have your Helm chart. And then I'm going to show you the Argo CD project as to how it synchronizes all of your resources of any resources that is written in YAML format from your GitHub repository as a desired state into your Kubernetes cluster as an application Helm chart. Okay. So to start off, to talk about Argo CD, Argo CD is a GitOps based CD tool or a continuous deployment tool. Its counterparts in the market are you have Harness.io, you have Flux CD also, but widely used is Argo CD. It's very easy to set up. It's pretty interesting. It has its own amazing user interface. You can also set it in a highly available fashion. You can use TLS. You have all of the other niceties in terms of working with Argo CD. But the three major components of Argo CD, which is very important in terms of understanding Argo CD's basic working, is you have API server, you have a repository server, and then you have an application controller. So if you take a look at this page right now that I'm in, you'll be able to understand all of these concepts. So let's say that a developer goes ahead and does a pull request or he merges a pull request to a specific branch. It's going to trigger a Git-based workflow where all of the components of Argo CD are within your K8s cluster. So you have a repository server, you have an application controller, you have an API server. All of these are going to work in tandem to go ahead and take your code from the Git repository as desired state configuration and then push it into your K8s cluster into different cluster contexts that you could set up or into different namespaces that you could possibly set up. So when you scroll down on this page, you will be able to read through all of the different components. So what does your API server do? How does it interpret all of your CLI and your API commands or your GUI related configuration commands? How does it enforce role-based access control on a project basis or on an app basis? And then you have your repository server, which maintains your desired state capacity. So it is responsible for cloning your GitHub repository and storing the code within your K8s cluster. And then your application controller is the one that goes ahead and checks whether the code that is synced within the cluster is the same as that of your GitHub repository. If there is an out of sync, then Argo CD is automatically going to go ahead and push out all of your changes from your GitHub repository onto your K8s cluster to maintain the desired state capacity. So that's why you got to remember that these three are the main components. You have an API server, a repository server, as well as an application controller that works in tandem to maintain desired state capacity or desired state configuration within your cluster. So your entire Helm chart code or whatever YAML files, like a deployment YAML file, a service YAML file, whatever YAML file you have within your GitHub repo is going to be synced in an automatic fashion, or you could also choose to sync it in a manual fashion into your K8s cluster. So having said that, that this is what Argo CD does, and it came into the market to solve, complex deployment strategies of, you could just do a Helm install. You could do a Helm upgrade hyphen install command, and that would push the configuration from your GitHub repository into your K8s cluster. But why not use a tool like Argo CD that does it for you on your behalf in an automated fashion? All you need to do is just point your GitHub repository and it takes care of everything. This makes your life more easier. And this is the new way the industry is changing, that we don't go with push-based configuration. We start working with tools like Argo CD, Spinnaker, Harness.io, Flux CD that allows us to do GitOps. And that's where the industry is changing. And I would like all of you guys to take a moment to go through these concepts, to even talk about this during your interviews, to get a better market value and market worth. Okay. So in terms of installing, all you have to do is just go ahead and click on Get Started, and you can go ahead and create a new namespace called Argo CD, and then you can go ahead and apply this YAML file that would go ahead and automatically create all of the necessary resources of Argo CD inside your cluster within the namespace called Argo CD. And then once all of your pods are up and running, you can go ahead and download the Argo CD CLI, which is given over here. And then you can go ahead and, access your username, that is the initial admin username, using the Argo CD CLI and set a new password to it so that you will be able to access the Argo CD's user interface using this new username and password. And if you want to go ahead and access Argo CD rather than using port forwarding, you can also patch the service of Argo CD server to go ahead and use a load balancer. So it would create a load balancer on the AWS side if you're using EKS, which would automatically allow you to access Argo CD through a DNS endpoint. And then all you have to do is just go ahead and create a new admin user. You got to log in, update the admin user's password, and then you can just go ahead and open up Argo CD from the browser by just using your service endpoint, which is the load balancer's DNS name. And once you open it up, you will be able to landing in this I mean, home page of Argo CD, where we don't have any applications configured as of now. But you can see on my screen, I have one application configured. So how do you configure this application? The first thing that you got to do is you got to create a new GitHub repository for your deployment repository. So I previously showed you in the previous two videos, where we were discussing about the CI repository, where you did your continuous integration, you did your GitHub Actions kind of workflow.yaml file that allowed you to push your application's Docker image to Artifactory. So that's what we have over here. We have our application image in Artifactory. After the CI process, we went ahead and deployed the Spring Boot example application image to Artifactory. So how do we take this image from Artifactory and deploy it into the cluster? This is our application. How do we do that? Now we create a deployment repository that is nothing but a Helm chart code. So now you can ask me, Akshay, as to what is a Helm chart? A Helm chart is nothing but a package manager for Kubernetes. So it's a package manager for Kubernetes in the sense, you go ahead and write all of your YAML files. You have an service.yaml, a deployment.yaml, an ingress.yaml. You write all of that within the templates folder as Go templates. And then you go ahead and pass all of your values from a file called values.yaml. And what happens is, instead of deploying each and every YAML file once, like you go ahead and deploy deployment first, then you do a service, then you do an ingress, then probably you would do something like Istio or whatever crazy things that you want to do. Instead of doing this one by one, we have a Helm chart that deploys everything in one shot for one application, like all of the necessary Kubernetes files that you would require or manifest files that you would require is deployed in one shot through something called as a Helm chart. And that's what we have over here. This is a classic example of a Helm chart. A Helm chart consists of a chart.yaml file where we have, this is in Helm 3 version. So we have the API version to be V2, the name of the chart, the description of the chart, what is the type? Is it an application or something like that, And then what is a version and what is your app version? So this is how you write the metadata for your Helm chart using a chart.yaml file. And if you have any dependencies, let's say that this Helm chart is dependent upon the MySQL Helm chart, then you can also specify some dependencies in the bottom. That means what would happen is the MySQL Helm chart will also be deployed, and then your application would be deployed. So you can do dependent charts in your Helm charts. In your chart.yaml, you can specify dependencies to deploy the dependencies first and then deploy your chart.yaml for your application. Okay. So after you write your metadata file called chart.yaml, you have a file, sorry, a folder called as templates, within which you will have all of your YAML files like deployment.yaml, service.yaml. And if for all of those YAML files, you need some, helpers. Let's say, for example, you need to generate a name. You need to do some additional functions like probably append or concat some names and so on. You can use something called as helpers.tpl that allow you to create variables that would later go ahead and reference within the deployment.yaml, service.yaml, ingress.yaml, volume.yaml, or storage class, and so on. For each and every API object for your respective application, you got to create a YAML file within the templates folder. So if I take a look at the service.yaml file over here, it is nothing but very similar to a Kubernetes service manifest file, but it's templated. It is templated in the sense, you can go ahead and pass some values into these templates from your values.yaml file. So we are passing something called as a replica count. We are passing something called as image repository as well as the image tag. We are passing some image pull secrets. We are passing name override, full name override, some service account related stuff. You're passing everything from your values.yaml file, and all of these values would go into your templates respective YAML files of your manifest files of your API objects. And if all of them are generated during runtime, and all of them are applied in one shot. And that's how you work with Helm charts. You create a chart where you have all of your manifest files for your respective application, and all of them are deployed in one single shot. You don't have to deploy kubectl apply -f, kubectl apply -f, kubectl apply -f. Instead of that, you do helm upgrade -f install, present your chart name, and then specify your chart directory. And then it's automatically going to generate all of your manifest files on the fly, and it's going to go ahead and deploy all of your manifest file. Right now, I have only one deployment and one service.yaml file. So once you configure a Helm chart repository and you know that it's working, then what you do is you go to Argo CD, you go to settings, you go to repositories, and you configure your Git repository either using HTTPS using your username and personal access token, or SSH based connectivity using your SSH key. So once you connect your GitHub repository successfully, then you go ahead and configure something called as an Argo application. And this Argo application lies within the default project. And you can see in a beautiful user interface manner over here that this is my example repository. It has so many YAML files, as replica sets. And these are my previous replica sets. And this is my main replica set, which goes ahead and deploys a pod. So this is pretty beautiful. And also it goes ahead and deploys something called as an endpoint, which is my service. And it also has an endpoint slice over here. So which is the service over here, which is nothing but my application service.yaml file that is being deployed. This is my deployment.yaml, which goes ahead and deploys a replica set, which in turn deploys my pod into my cluster. So this is something that Argo CD does automatically. So as and when I change the latest version of my application image, or if I manipulate any of my aspects. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do a small demo over here. I'm going to update my values.yaml file, and I'm going to say I need a replica of 2 within the cluster. I'm going to scroll down on this page. I'm going to commit this directly to my main branch. So now Argo CD is going to be intelligent enough to go ahead and in a moment pick up this change and deploy 2 pods for me, because right now I have only 1 pod that is running. Now I have updated my deployment to 2 replicas, which means in a moment you should see one more pod automatically spawn up over here, because this project has been configured with automatic syncing within the cluster, from your GitHub repository. So if it takes a moment and you don't want to waste some time, you can always go ahead and click on sync button over here, which would automatically go ahead and sync both of your objects, within your cluster. So I can just go ahead and click on synchronize, and you should be able to see that it's found it to be out of sync, and it has automatically created a new pod for me. And now I have 2 replicas of my application that is up and running. So Argo CD is completely responsible for going ahead and, you know, syncing your desired state configuration, which is there in your GitHub repository as a Helm chart, into your K8s cluster. And this is an automatic sync. So how do you do that? So if I take a look at the configuration of my project, of my application project over here. So let's see if I'm able to see the configuration. Um, okay, I have to find this. Give me a moment, guys. So let me find out the configuration. Okay, app details. Yes, perfect. So now you can see over here that we have this syncing into a specific namespace within the cluster called bb-app. And then this is the cluster onto which Argo CD itself is installed in. That's why it's called as in-cluster deployment. And this application is part of the Argo CD project. And then you can see over here, this is the repository URL of the GitHub repository where my Helm chart code resides. And when I scroll down more, you can see over here, we have automated sync in terms of enabled. We also have two other options called as prune resources and self heal. So if suppose, your syncing has some errors and so on, you can go ahead and enable to prune resources. And over here, I have enabled self heal within the cluster, that if at all anyone goes ahead and modifies your cluster related configuration, Argo CD is going to be like, no, you can't do that. I'm going to automatically go ahead and sync whatever is there in the GitHub repo into my cluster as desired state configuration. So no one can manipulate anything in the cluster directly. Everything has to go through Argo CD. So I hope you guys get the idea that in these three paths that we studied in regards to CI plus CD, we saw some of these security best practices in play. We saw that all of our repositories were private in nature. Then we saw that we used one golden image for all of our builds as for our self-hosted runner. Then you saw that, we went ahead and configured Argo CD within the cluster to go ahead and synchronize from a private repository. And then we have also ensured that our runner is a self-hosted runner and not a hosted runner, which means we can control that runner's related access from within the cluster in terms of RBAC and so on. So we have some really good security best practices going into play when we work with self-hosted runners compared to hosted runners of GitHub. Because when you think about the costing aspects, self-hosted runners, if you already have a K8s cluster, you can do all of your CI and CD related builds, or in CD, you are using Argo CD in this example. But if suppose you use something else like Jenkins, where you're pushing the configuration and your build is doing that, your build runner is doing that, you can have control over your runner. But in hosted runners of GitHub, GitHub runs it on GitHub Cloud, where we don't have access to the runner except for the logs. The second thing in terms of costing, if you already have a K8s cluster and you're already paying for it, your costs are very less when it comes to GitHub Actions with self-hosted runners, because you're running your runners in the cluster that you manage and you're already paying for it. But when you're working with GitHub hosted runners, whether it's on the repository level or organization level or enterprise level, you're paying money for each and every run and each and every minute that your build is continuing. So in that way, in terms of costing aspects, in terms of control, I would say running self-hosted runners, if you have the team and if you have the training within the team, is pretty amazing. And the usage of Argo CD or Flux CD or any other, I mean, like GitOps based CD tool in terms of synchronizing resources to, your Kubernetes cluster as Helm charts, or you can also explore on Helm files. All these things are really amazing. All of them are being used in the industry. And that is something that I would like you guys to concentrate more on and be as creative as possible in terms of creating your own pipelines for different types of applications. Do one for a Node.js application, do one for an Angular application, do one for a Spring Boot based application. Try out different pipelines so that you get really good with DevOps, and then add in your security best practices and all that, and then call it as DevSecOps. Integrate automation, testing tools into your pipeline, or even like endpoint testing, or API testing, or integration testing and unit testing and all that, and then call it as dev test ops. Use Argo CD, deploy to Kubernetes, call it as dev kubeops, whatever the hell that you want to call it, do it, man. But try all of these things out. It's pretty amazing. Okay. I hope you guys got a good idea about how we do GitHub Actions with self-hosted runners and CD using Argo CD. So with that, our three-part series has come to an end. I mean, at the start, I mentioned it would be a five-part, but then I wanted to do it as a three-part because we have been running this for some time. We are paying for the infrastructure. So I would like to bring it down. That's why I made it as a three-part. One last thing that I would like to talk about for at least 5 minutes is in regards to certification, man. So many people out there in the market are doing certifications on a daily basis and all that. But you know what? According to me, even I did a lot. In my initial years of my experience, I did a lot of certifications, and I do certifications only to teach. I do certifications to guide industry people and even college students so that they could go on and do a certification and also attend my weekend batches of training. So that's the main motive behind me doing a certification. But if you're not able to pass an exam, if you're not able to prepare for one, or if you feel that certification is not your bread and butter, or if you have tried for a certification and if you have failed, it's completely fine. A piece of paper is not going to determine your entire experience in the industry. Do more practical stuff, work on more practical stuff, have a proper LinkedIn profile. Use right words in your LinkedIn profile. Form your profile with right sentences so that people, when they read it, they get the impression of how much practicals that you've done. So work more on that rather than, worrying about certifications and doing a cert. It's nothing but a piece of paper. It's going to only help you probably get selected for an interview. But anyways, you're going to go through practical rounds. You're going to go to theoretical rounds, interview rounds and all that. So certification, according to me, is nothing. It's just a piece of paper. So don't ever worry about it. Don't push yourself so hard to doing certifications. It really does not matter. If there is a person who has cleared like 20, 25, or 30 certifications in the market, it means that they are just good in clearing exams, but they are not good in terms of practicals. So ensure that you do the practicals, you do the theory, and if at all you'll feel that you are good to go for a certification, go for it, man. Otherwise, just don't like spend so much time doing cert after cert after cert. I finished 6 certs in 1 week. I finished 7 certs in 5 days. What the fuck? No. Forget about certifications. Think about practical knowledge. So, having said that, I'm going to introduce you to one website over here, which is nothing but AWS workshops, which I would like you guys, to take a look at. I want you guys to concentrate more on this. Each and every scenario over here is indeed pretty amazing. Everything has been documented. You can just do it, I mean, use case scenario by use case scenario, and then you can get a ton of knowledge. Forget about the people who have certifications in the market. They are idiots. Forget about them. I'm going to outright say that because it does not matter, man. I have helped close to 50 people clear certifications. I myself have 15 certifications with me. But over a period of time, I have come to realize, that it's just a piece of paper. Just like how your degree does not matter, certifications does not matter. But practical experience is something that's going to take you through, I mean, like huge in the industry, man. So do more practicals and also take a look at the AWS solutions page. This is pretty amazing. Both of these workshops and solutions page. This helps you become more of a solutions architect. Take a look at all of the different solutions architecture diagrams over here and take a look at those reference diagrams. Probably create some of those infrastructure in your AWS account. Analyze how each and every configuration has been done, what use cases are being done. Then you'll get a ton of knowledge. Forget about all of the people in the industry who have done certifications, the Yujun Liangs, the Satyan Kumars. Forget about them. Go ahead and do a lot of practicals. That's what matters a lot. Do this, guys, and you're gonna go great in the industry. This is the harsh reality. There are kids, third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard kids who are clearing certifications. Certifications are for business. AWS, Azure, and GCP get a ton of money from it. It's just a piece of paper. That's all it is. At the initial stages of your career, all you need to concentrate on is just working on the practical aspects. Like even after 4 years, even after 5 years in the industry or 12 years in the industry, you should be passionate about doing more labs rather than writing more exams. Okay. So I'm gonna outright say all these things because I don't care about it. I don't give a fuck what someone else thinks. But what I want you guys to remember is practicals is gonna help you travel the entire world, not certifications. Okay. Take care, guys, and have a great day. Having said that, see you guys in the next class. Probably I'll come up with some more new videos. I'm gonna revamp my entire AWS course. I'm gonna bring out new videos. We are gonna bring out new DevOps content. Take care, guys, and have a great day. Stay safe and take some rest and have some fun. Okay, bye bye.